All right, guys, welcome to another episode. I'm Orlando,
And I'm Omar.
Smart Bros.
This smart take.
All right, everybody, we're back with another episode. This is going to be our preview of the upcoming game against the Seahawks, as well as our recap of our game on Thanksgiving against the Washington Commanders. So, just right off the bat, how you feeling about that Thanksgiving game?
It was pretty good. I was clearly we won 45-10. So it's not, you can always be happy about that. I saw, Dak still playing at an elite level, playing at an MVP level, if you ask me. That's why I'm wearing his jersey today. Gotta rep my guy number 4, man. He's like Aaron Rodgers said, Tom Brady might have been talking about a lot of mediocre quarterbacks, but he's not talking about Dak when he says that. So, it's just he's playing great right now, and I don't see what's gonna like make that not continue to happen. So I'm very interested to see. Hopefully, we can continue to play like this because I feel like when our offense is playing like this, and then if our defense gets a stop or two here and there, I just don't, I don't see who many teams that can beat us. But I mean, that's like this, like if we played that, if our offense has played since after the 49ers game, maybe we definitely have a chance to beat them. But I'm not gonna get into that because it's not who we played in either this last game or the game upcoming. So I'll get into my predictions. I said Dak would throw for 285 and 3 touchdowns. Hey, like I said, I'm big on the underselling right now. It's pretty much worked every week, except for I guess the week before last when we played the Giants. Technically, it didn't work like hit, but like it's because we killed them. So um, I said Dak for 285 and 3 touchdowns. He ended up throwing for 331 and 4 touchdowns. So hey, like I said, he just boosting that MVP campaign. If you ask me, if he can string together some solid games in this next 4 game stretch, I don't know how we can say he's not in the MVP conversation. I said CD would have 70 yards and a touchdown. He only had 53 and a touchdown. I said Cooks had 55 yards. I didn't think he'd score. I thought Gallup would have 50 yards and score, but Gallup has just pretty much been taken out of the offense. And I'm not gonna say like I understand kind of. Father went to the game. He said that Gallup doesn't really run that hard of routes. He looks like he's running routes as if he's not getting the ball, but that's not even the kind of quarterback Dak is. Dak isn't even a force feeder for the most part. He's really a spread the wealth kind of guy. I mean, shoot, we're getting Jalen Brooks, the rookie, some catches. Jalen Tolbert gets catches. Turpin got a touchdown and a catch. Like, like if you're open, I feel like Dak's gonna find you. It's just I don't know what it is about Gallup, but ever since that injury, man, he just that contract that we gave him just looks worse and worse. So I don't know, but yeah, Cooks ended up having 72 yards and a touchdown, and Gallup only had 1 catch for 13 yards. So yeah, like I said, he's just really not in the offense that much. It looks like he got his J took for real, but I guess we'll see what happens. I said we'd have a tight end touchdown, but we ended up having a Turpin touchdown. So I mean, not exactly the same, but we did have a dime to a tight end at the right over the middle, like only so many QBs in the league are making that throw.
I
And you
mean,
could say, oh, that's routine, but it's just not.
no, that throw was perfect. Like that
Couldn't have
was
been
one of the
anywhere
most
else,
beautiful throws
like
I've seen all
in
year.
stride. It literally looked as if he walked from wherever he threw it all the way down to where he caught it and just placed that
Just
ball in his hand. Here,
right.
take this. But people aren't going to give him much credit. Just, oh, he was like because he had a step on him, but if the defender was still pretty much draped on him, I don't know how much separation he had, but it couldn't have been much. I said TP with 65 yards and a touchdown. He ended up having 79 yards and a touchdown. The run game is finally starting. It seems like it's starting to pick up a little bit. Rico Dowdle has been running hard all year, and so it looks like that 1-2 punch may be back. I'm not. Maybe it's a little too early to tell, and of course they can say it's look who you played, but like I said, they're still NFL players, still any given week, and if it were so easy, everybody would do it, which they are not. They're losing to these teams or they're in dogfights with these teams, and whereas we are absolutely demolishing them. I said Micah for 1.5 sacks, had 1.5 sacks. I thought we'd have
Right on
two
the head.
picks. We ended up only having one, but pick six. Deron Bland, shout out you. He got his 5th pick six, which is the most ever in NFL history for a season. And it's still mid-season. He still have multiple games to play. So I don't know if he can boost that or if he could continue to keep going. But man, if he could, that'd be crazy because that's gonna be one of those records that stands for a long time. I don't remember how long the record stood until just now, but it couldn't have been in any time recent. So shout out to Deron Bland, man, because I said we have a defensive touchdown. So he got it. He got us a defensive touchdown. And it's not even like it was like he walked in. He had to juke some people to get it.
Oh, that was the longest and the hardest like pick six he's gotten all year. And it was the
Yeah, for
one to break the
sure.
record. So I
Yeah, there
mean,
were
that's
3
just
people who were trying to tackle him. Of course, one being Sam Howell as in a quarterback. So I mean, I guess you got to take that with a grain of salt. But then he had 2 receivers trying to tackle him too, and juke both of them. And I guess that's back
made
to his
them run
receiver
into each
days when
other.
he played in high school. So I don't know. I thought we'd have 6 sacks. We only have 4, which I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I thought we would win 42-17, but we won 45-10. So I wasn't too far off right there. But if I had to give like an overall feeling, feel pretty good going into this week against the Seahawks. I like the momentum we continue to have momentum. We continue to be lethal at home. I do wish we could start going down on first drives and scoring. I don't really like us getting all the way down the field and then not scoring. But I feel like we're still trending in the right direction. You got to get your bad drives out now. And yeah, we're just gonna keep it rolling. How do you feel?
I mean, like you kind of hit a lot of the nails on the head. I mean, once you go into a game with the division opponent on Thanksgiving, whole world watching, and you put up a game like that and win 45-10, I feel like it's kind of hard to come away with some negatives from that. Obviously, every game's not going to be perfect. Like you said, started off on the first drive, went 3 and now. The game was actually even kind of close for a little bit. I mean, we were up 20-10 at halftime, and then even at the end of the third quarter, we didn't score another touchdown. Negative takeaways, you want to be better in the third quarter, want to be better to kind of start off. Basically, you want to be better when you start off halves. But in my opinion, that's kind of I want to get that. I feel like that's kind of a credit to Dak and what the team is doing because it's kind of known around the league that first drive you come out there, you're running a script, you're trying to get the game going, and it feels like once that the script doesn't work, so then like our offense has to then rally behind Dak, and then they have to just kind of work things out themselves. And it's been working to perfection. Obviously, like once after that first drive, we were pretty good. And honestly, in that game, actually, I wouldn't even the first drive was only stalled because Dak had some wide open receivers and kind of just overthrew them as the
That
first
is
drive.
true.
Had some, I guess, people were a little amped up, and so other than that,
I'm
we
talking
were
about he had
pretty
a touchdown to CD.
right. We were getting pretty much anything we wanted offensively. There were just a few little times we didn't execute as well as we should have. So not obviously, and then we're not going to just kill them for that. So I mean, exactly what I wanted to happen, it has been happening. I wanted with these, we had some quote unquote easy games coming up. So I wanted Dak to be able to build his stats and become in the top echelon of the statistical categories. And then that way, once he came to this gauntlet part of the season where we're facing the hard teams above 500 with some wins there, it'll definitely help boost that MVP narrative because obviously the Super Bowl, the winning a championship is the absolute utmost goal. That is our number one priority when it comes to the Dallas
100%.
Cowboys. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't want Dak to win MVP. We shouldn't want Micah or Deron Bland to win Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, when you look at that, like Dak said it in his interview when they asked him about what he thought about his name being in this conversation, it's like, yes, that's cool and the goals of the Super Bowl, but if your names are in those conversations, that means the team is playing well. And if the team is playing well, it means like, what else do you really want? So I feel like a lot of people get kind of Super Bowl or bust when it comes to stuff like this. And I just feel like that's not the kind of mindset you should have just because things go together. If you're playing well, you win MVP, and your name is in the MVP category. If your name is in the MVP conversation, that means your team is doing pretty good. And that's all we want. So I mean, if we can just got to keep it going, like I said, once with the gauntlet part of the season with these teams above 500, and that I think that award is Dak's. for the taking. But just to get into my predictions, I predicted that I thought Dak would have his season high in passing yards this game with 425, but he only had 331. But that's more so because our run game was working a lot better than it had all season. And two, I mean, once we got up by multiple scores, we were still throwing the ball, but it just wasn't needed. So his stats aren't just gonna be inflated like that. So like I say, yeah, 331, 4 touchdowns. I got the touchdown prediction right. I predicted that Tony Pollard would have 75 yards in the touchdown. He had 79 yards in the touchdown, so I was almost spot on. I thought that CD would have 125 in the touchdown. He only had 53 yards in the touchdown. 53. I thought CD would have 125 yards in the touchdown. He ended with 53 yards in the touchdown. So still would like to see him get the ball a little bit more. Obviously, like I said, we didn't need it. Not gonna force the issue if it's not necessary. But like I said, I want our players to be in those top statistical categories. Obviously, at this point, CD is not gonna win Offensive Player of the Year, but that doesn't mean he can't be in the conversation. And if we put him in the conversation by getting him the ball, and getting him the ball has been proven to be successful for us. So kind of hand in hand. I thought that Brandon Cooks would have 75 yards in the touchdown, and I almost hit that right on the head. He had 72 yards in the touchdown, and I definitely want to give credit to Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, and Brandon Cooks as a whole for just working together to make sure we can get him the ball, because what was the point of bringing him in here to be our number two if we were going to use him like we were at the beginning of the year? He's been proven to be a 1,000-yard receiver wherever he goes. He's been proven to be effective. We just have to find a way to get him the ball. Mike McCarthy and Dak talked about it before this, and from then on, from those conversations, they've made a conscious effort. And then I watched sounds from the sidelines, and Brandon Cook said on the deep shot where he scored his touchdown, he literally asked them to put that in the playbook for him so he could get that. And then, like he said himself, the trust that they have in him to call that play means a lot. And I think that's the way we just need to continue doing that. I think that should be the
Right,
focal point of our
because he
offense,
was
moving
open,
the ball
wide
down the field,
open.
literally. And so, and I think that just goes to show more and more that, while obviously it wasn't too late and it's changed for the better now, I just think that coming into the season, what we wanted our team to be was just the wrong mindset to have. They wanted us to be a run-first team that relied heavily on the defense. And we said it before on this podcast, if that comes naturally, then okay. But we have the players to where that shouldn't have been
And the
a
quarterback, the
necessity.
most important.
We have a quarterback, and we have the wide receivers to make that to where that isn't even necessary. So I'm glad that they've made the changes. I can't shout out Mike McCarthy enough for not being set in his ways, to not being stubborn, and actually being able to adapt and make changes, because that's just something Cowboys fans have not seen in a really long time. I predicted that Michael Gallup would have 40 yards in the touchdown, and you've already kind of touched on him a lot, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. He only had one catch for 13 yards. Um, I guess I'll touch it on a little bit. Like you said, it kind of seems like he got his J took. He's already losing out on snaps to Jalen Tolbert, and it's looking like Jalen Brooks is about to come and get the rest of those snaps, because I mean, it's all about. So at some point, it's all about effort. And that play Jalen Brooks made off that tip catch. I mean, those are plays
Those are winning
that go.
plays.
Those are winning plays. Those plays go a long way in a game where you need them. And if we can count on Jalen Brooks, that we know he's going to make those type of plays, while Michael Gallup's going to be on the other side giving minimal effort. You said our dad texted us. He literally texted us saying that it doesn't even, he runs all of his routes as if he knows he's not getting the ball. And it's just that, as somebody who watches the game, and I mean, obviously I didn't play a receiver at this level, but even you play at any level you're playing receiver, you have to run your routes at all. Because even though the play might not be for you, that doesn't mean you can't get the ball. That doesn't mean you can't draw your defender away. That doesn't mean, like, there's so much more that
Right.
comes into just getting the ball as a receiver, and we're just not seeing it from Michael Gallup. So I feel like either a change has to be made, whether it be with him personally to where he plays better, or with the coaching staff taking away his snaps, because I mean, he's kind of being a detriment to the team right now. But we're able the other players are being successful, so it's not as daunting on the team. So hopefully he can kind of figure something out. I thought that we'd have a tight end touchdown, like I always think, but like you said, ended up with Turpin, which was, I mean, beautiful route, beautiful throw, beautiful play in itself. I honestly can't stop raving about how this offense looks right now because it's just a complete 180 from what it was at the beginning of the year. I thought Micah would have 2 sacks, and he ended up with a sack and a half. I think it was almost like the game a couple games ago, or somebody. It was majority of his sack, but somebody went in there, got their hand on him, took half of it away. But like I said, he's gonna continue playing the way he plays. We're never gonna. He had a couple games where he wasn't getting a lot of sacks, but just the pressure he brings, the focus he brings from an offensive line standpoint, to where they have to know where 11 is. They have to get one, if they have to get two, if not three guys over there to make sure he doesn't affect the game. I mean, that in itself is affecting the game. So want to definitely congratulate him. I predicted that we'd have 7 sacks. We only have 4, and I thought with Sam Howell being the most sacked quarterback in the league, I thought that's why we would have that many sacks. But credit to him, he escaped the pocket well. I mean, Sam Howell actually didn't play that bad of a game.
At
He
all,
just
actually.
that I feel like at the beginning of the game they weren't aggressive when they should have been, and then towards the end of the game they were going for it on every fourth down and just weren't that successful. So it was
Yeah.
kind of hurting the team, but
Hard
it
when you're
wasn't. I
playing
don't
from
think that
down
was
like that.
right, and I don't think that was a testament to Sam Howell not playing well. But we would have. I thought Stephon Gilmore would get an interception, but Deron Bland went and took that. He went and took the NFL record for most pick sixes in a game. So definitely want to shout out to him. I mean, like, we've never seen that before, and I just want to give him a credit because a lot of people, me included, thought that definitely had faith in him and thought he was a good cornerback, but I definitely thought there would be some bit of drop off from Trayvon Diggs being out, and from Deron Bland's standpoint, there really hasn't been much. Gilly has struggled a little bit in a couple games on a couple plays, so I mean, I guess that means there was a bit of a drop off, but Deron Bland has stepped up immensely in that cornerback one role and done exactly what we needed of him. So I definitely want to shout him out. I thought that we would, and then I thought the final score of the game would be 38-13, and we ended up winning 45-10. So credit to the team. They completely shut them out. They went out on Thanksgiving and showed the whole world what they can do. And like, I think that was the most watched game in the last like 30 years of barring that wasn't a Super Bowl. So like I said, the whole world was watching, and now I feel like after that game, I feel like a lot of narratives have switched. I've seen a lot of talking heads kind of throwing Dak in that MVP conversation. I've seen a lot of talking heads kind of giving us our flowers. And I mean, obviously that's what we've been asking for, but it almost kind of seems like a setup at this point. I feel like people are
Oh
getting
yeah, like
this.
Stephen
I
A.
don't
You
know.
know, he be
Exactly. So definitely want to, I guess, give them credit for giving us credit finally. Now that, because seeing as we actually deserve it, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like a couple of those guys have some some
hidden
what's that word?
agendas.
Yeah, I think a lot of those guys have some hidden agendas with that praise. But that was the Commanders game. Completely dominated them on Thanksgiving. But now the hard, quote unquote, the hard part of the season is coming up. We have the Seahawks first, which will be the first game of 4 against teams with winning records. Even when I can tell you now, once we beat them being 6-5,
Oh
then they'll
yeah,
be 6-6. They're gonna go right back to that category of teams
100%.
that have losing records. But
You know how
we're
that
not gonna
go.
get too we're not gonna get too ahead of ourselves here. What are your predictions and how you feeling about this game against the Seahawks?
Last 5 weeks have undersold, so why not go 6? I'm gonna go 250 and 3 touchdowns for Dak, 85 and a touchdown for CD. But I really hope he gets back in the 100 range, man. It's been a
Right.
couple weeks. I get it. We might not have needed it, but they have 2 solid corners in in Witherspoon and Tariq Woolen, UTSA guy. Shout out UTSA guy. So it's just like, come on, man. And they're gonna try to key in on him. And I get it. you can't don't Dak, don't force it or anything, but come on, man, we got to get him back involved. And I like how if we're not getting him a lot of yards or at least getting him a touchdown, but I feel like they can go hand in hand. I feel like we can get him
Right.
120 plus and a touchdown, but I'm just gonna say 85 and a touchdown. I'm gonna
And
go
hold on,
Cooks
wait.
with. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to just stop you there, just because the fact that throwing for 250 and 3 touchdowns is underselling for Dak. Just kind of shows you what level he's playing on right now.
Oh yeah,
If he went out
absolutely.
there and threw for 250, 3 touchdowns every single game, that would be amazing for me. That'd be a great season. So I just want to put that out there. That's the level our quarterback is on right now. Underselling is a great game for a lot of people. But continue.
That's real. Um, I said Cooks would have 65 yards and touchdown. Like I said, like you said, we've been getting them involved, and a deep ball a game just doesn't. I mean, I don't see why not. I don't see why
Right.
we can't get him a deep ball a game. Um, I think we'll have a tight end touchdown, of course. And at this point, like I said, I just don't know what Gallup. So I'm gonna go Turpin and Tolbert combined for 40 yards. I don't know if I
Okay.
don't. I doubt they get a touchdown, but I think they combine for 40 yards. And then I think TP will get 74 yards and a touchdown. I think Michael will get 2 sacks. I'm getting him back in the 2 sack column. Yeah, I think he's gonna get back to Geno, get a lot of pressure. I think we'll get 5 sacks overall. So just just hurrying him up and try to make something happen, and we end up getting them. I think he'll throw 2 picks. I don't know who will fumble, but I think we force a fumble, especially because I don't think Kenneth Walker is going to be playing. I don't know. He could be back because he had an oblique injury. I don't think this week, but the week before. So I'm not really sure. This is a big week in my house because my roommate Brock is a big Seahawks fan. So I
Okay.
told him he's my op this week. So you good, I gotta. Oh man, this would be a bad time to lose a game. Terrible.
Right.
But and I think we'll win 40-17. How about you?
So like you said, you've been underselling. I've been kind of predicting what I hope they get, so that way they can keep up in these statistics categories. I think Dak will throw for 410 and 4 touchdowns. I think that CD will have 110 and a touchdown. I think that Cooks will have 80 yards and a touchdown. Tight end touchdown, obviously, and
Of
I'm gonna
course.
keep holding out hope for Gallup. He's shown flashes this season, like it hasn't been all bad. So I'm hoping that he can get 45 yards and a touchdown. I'm thinking it'll be probably get him going on a deep ball or something, and he'll have maybe like 1 or 2 more catches short. I think that Michael will have 2 sacks. I think we'll have 6 sacks overall. Like you said, I think we'll be able to pressure Geno. I think with you said Kenneth Walker isn't playing. I feel like that kind of
And
lose.
Gino is kind of hurt a little bit. He has an elbow injury that he suffered. So I don't know if
Right.
that'll affect his throwing or not, but see
I
what
agree
happens.
100%. I think with Kenneth Walker being out, I feel like they lose a little bit of their pass protection with going to Zeke Charbonnet or however I think that's how you pronounce his name. So I just think that we'll have their protection at Geno will be a little iffy, and our line they do a really good job of pressuring the quarterback. So I think we'll have 6 sacks. I think we'll have a safety pick. I don't know if it'll be Curse Hooker
You
because
think Kirsch is gonna be back? Is he supposed to be back?
he didn't play last game, and then
Okay.
when they asked him about playing in this game, he said he'll be 200% ready to play. So
Okay.
I think
That's
he'll
good.
one of
Good
those
news.
guys will get a interception, and I think we'll force a fumble somehow, and we'll win the game 42-18.
Okay. I think those are we're not like of course other than pretty much Dak, his stats, we're pretty much same, especially on defense.
Right.
I like this matchup for us right now. We're rolling right now. We're at home. I don't know what it is about playing at home, but we've won 12 straight. So
Right.
we
Going
gotta
back to
hopefully
last
we can
season.
going back to last season. We hopefully we can keep that going. I'm not gonna say Dak only plays well at home because that's not the truth. He played well
Right.
at the Eagles. He didn't play bad against the Cardinals, even though we lost. He did play bad against the 49ers. And I hope y'all realize we give credit where it's due, but if credit is not due and the opposite is given. He played terrible against the 49ers. It is what it is. Every quarterback has done it, but he's played way more good games than he has bad games. And I feel
Right.
like people are
Yeah.
not, people are so stuck in their ways on looking at the 49ers game than looking at all of his games overall, because he's still top in the categories. So especially like QBR and touchdowns and things that actually matter, other than losing one game at the beginning of the season. Don't get me wrong, terrible game. I'm not discrediting that. I'm not, but it is like you got to. It's like they won't move past that. So I'm ready for the Seahawks playing tomorrow.
I agree with you
game.
100%. 100%. Like right now, the narrative is that the Cowboys and Dak can't be good teams, and it's like, well, if you look at our record, Dak has only had one game, one bad game, and even if you want to throw the Cardinals game in there too, because that's a team we should have beat, and so he's had two bad games. That's still what are we 8-3? That's still 9 games where he played great. Even with one of them, he played great, and we still lost. But that doesn't mean that doesn't just invalidate what he did out there on the field. So
100%.
I feel like using 2 games as a testament to the entire team of what they're capable of versus the other 9 is just
on top of
disingenuous. I feel like people aren't even arguing in good faith when they make those arguments, because it's like, because one argument right now that I've had with somebody, they were saying how, oh, the Eagles are the best team in the league and they never even had a complete game, and then once they put it all together, it's not going to be, well, okay, well, we've had 11 games. If they haven't put it together one complete time in 11 games, what makes you think they have the ability to do that? And they've had the same chance to put it together again, because my rebuttal was, well, the Cowboys have had multiple games where we put it all together. We looked amazing on offense, defense, and special teams. But then the rebuttal to that was, well, where the teams were bad. Well, the Eagles have had the exact same chances to put it all together against those bad teams, but they couldn't. So I don't understand how that just the team you play not being able to be dominating a bad team kind of just invalidates our entire season, which I feel like everybody's in the NFL. They're all trying to win and they just can't. And I don't understand how you can compare our blowouts to other teams in like you said earlier, in dogfights with these bad teams. If it was that easy to just dominate a bad team, it would happen every game against them, but it doesn't. So I just think that getting back to the Seahawks, I think that this game coming up, this will be a big game for our corners. Deron Bland and Stephon Gilmore, they're going to be in for a lot. DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, even Jordan Lewis will probably be out there trying to hold on Jackson Smith and the Jigba. Yeah, they're out there trying to guard Jackson Smith and Jigba. So their wide receiver room is definitely talented, and with their run game lacking because Kenneth Walker being out, I think it'll be a big game for our corners. I think they're going to have to really step up and kind of stop those guys, which, I mean, it hasn't been proven to be impossible, but definitely going to be a tough task ahead for them. But you have anything else?
No, that's another episode. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing, keep subscribing. We appreciate y'all. Hopefully we can come back to y'all with a dub. We're going to make a recap video of that, of course, and then a preview of the Eagles when they come to Jerry World next week. So, I'm excited. I'm happy for this 4-game stretch because I like where this offense. I'm a little nervous, but that's not because of who we're playing, just because I'm nervous for every game, just because it's any given league and like people act like it's not, only because we're winning by how we're winning, but 100% of any given night, any given game league. So hey, I like our team. I'm taking us against anybody. I'm glad. So we'll see what happens. But
I agree. Obviously don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but with this tough game stretch coming up, I honestly think that we can win all of these games. I feel like if you just automatically think that if you try to point out any flaws that we have and trying to credit that to why we can't beat these teams, I feel like that means you're not looking at the flaws of the other team. Because anybody who says we can't beat the Dolphins because we haven't beat any good teams is ignoring that the Dolphins haven't beat any good teams. Anybody who thinks that we can't beat the Bills is ignoring Josh Allen being the most turnover-prone quarterback, while we have one of the most turnover prone defenses in terms of getting turnovers. Anybody who thinks we can't beat the Seahawks, I mean, like there's reasons that we can beat all of these teams, and I think there's going to be there's definitely going to be a very telling December for us. But like I said, keep liking, keep commenting, sharing, subscribing. We thank you guys. We appreciate your support. But that's another episode. I'm Orlando.
And I'm Omar.
We're the Smart Bros.
And it's the Smart Take.